Hello everyone, it's Connor from the Glass Elevator YouTube channel. In this episode, I'll be removing the engine so I can get access to the damage on the frame rail. In this beginning part, I'm just removing a few damaged body panels. All my parts came in the mail, so once the structural damage is fixed, I can put the engine in and all the body panels on, pretty much just assemble the car, and then I can just focus on body work. I need to replace the hood hinges because when the hood was crushed in, it bent the hood hinges. So in order to take them off, I need to take off this cowl panel because the hood hinge goes underneath the cowl panel. So I'm going to take this whole thing off, and I need to do that anyways because the washer bottle, which I don't really want sitting here the whole time, the tube for it goes up and into the cowl panel. And the last reason why I want to take it off is because it'll give me just a little more room to get the engine out. So I'll start by removing the windshield wipers, and then I should be able to just take off this panel. I didn't break it. Now I'm going to evacuate the refrigerant from the car. I've got this refrigerant recovery machine where you can collect the output so that it doesn't just go into the atmosphere, and I'll be saving this in a tank so I can put it back in the car later. The first thing I'll do is start it up without hooking it up to the car and get all the air out of these lines. And I've already evacuated all the air from my storage tank. So when I put the old refrigerant back in the car, there won't be any air contaminants. I've got it set to recover. So let's start it up. And it's already got a strong vacuum on it. So I'll turn it off. The gauges have been holding a vacuum for a few minutes now, so I'm gonna hook the couplers up to the car. The high side port is right here, and the low side port is right there. These couplers are both on pretty well. I'm gonna open them up. You can check out the gauges. Now you can see the pressure. It's a little over 90 psi in the system. And one more thing, I also weighed my recovery tank before, so I know exactly how much I've taken out after when I weigh it. So pretty much all of the refrigerant's out of the system now. Since it's past zero, that means it's starting to pull a vacuum. I'm gonna keep it running for 10 more minutes so I can pull a really deep vacuum, and then we should be good. Okay, it's been a lot more than 15 minutes. It's pulled a pretty good vacuum, and that's good enough. So I'm just gonna turn this off. Now all the refrigerant is recovered, and I can take off the condenser and the rest of the AC system. Alright, I got that all covered up. Now I'll remove everything that goes from the car's body to the engine. I jacked the car up. I'm going to drain the transmission oil because I'm going to remove the CV axles. I'm the biggest idiot. I forgot that there's like 7 liters of transmission oil in here. But I'm trying to drain it into a tiny container. What am I thinking? Okay, I've got a much bigger container this time. The reason why I didn't use that the first time was because it was full of oil, so I went and drained that. The reason why I even took out the drain plug with that tiny little bottle is because I've never drained the transmission fluid before. I didn't realize how much fluid is in it, even though I already read the textbook and it said that there's basically 2 gallons of fluid in there. I still stuck a 2-liter bottle under it. But there won't be a problem this time. So let me pull that plug and drain all this fluid. I've heard that the transmission drain plugs are magnetic at the top, and you can see all the metallic particles that are stuck to the end of this. So that's nice that this is magnetic. You wouldn't want that in your transmission. Now I'm going to remove the front CV axles. I'll take the wheel off and the knuckle and pull the axle out. Luckily they included the wheel lock, so I don't have to try to find one or use some crazy method of getting it off. So that's really nice. So I'm having a problem removing the wheel hub bolts. You can see it just spins around. The car's in park right now and I pulled the emergency brake too, but as you can see it's still spinning. So what I'm going to do is put the wheel on here, lower the car down, and then I can break that loose. This is out. Just gotta unhook it from the transmission side. Alright, I got this axle out. There's only one more to do on the other side, and it'll be much easier this time since I know what to do. With the axles out, I am nearly done. I have to remove the exhaust next. There's one bolt right there and the other is right there. There's one. That's the lower exhaust bolt that I need to remove. It looks like there's a lot of space, but there's not much space at all. So in order to make space, I'm going to remove this lower engine mount. I needed to remove it anyways, but I'll just remove it now and that'll give me just a little more room so I can get my breaker bar in there and take off that exhaust bolt. The engine easily swings back and forth now. It's a little scary. I'm on the home stretch now to removing the engine. I just got to remove this shifter cable. That's it. The engine just came out of the car. This is super exciting. Now there's a ton of room for me to work on the frame rail. You can see we rolled the engine over here in the corner. It's just sitting on blocks. It was kind of difficult to get out. I didn't set it up perfectly with the center of gravity, so it tilted forward, as you probably saw. A lot of the issue was with these stud bolts with the exhaust. It was really caught up on that. So once we got it off that exhaust, it just came out super easily. It only took me 2 days of work to get it out. I'm sure if you're a super mechanical guy and you've done this many times before, you could easily do it in a day. And if you also had a lift, that would help a lot. But putting the engine back in is probably going to be a nightmare. So if you guys have any ideas of what I can do to make putting the engine back in go easier, things I could buy, definitely leave that in the comments so I can take a look at it. But in the next episode, I'll be working on the frame rail. I'll probably be sectioning it about right here. I'll look in the manual to see what is proper for sectioning. I'll also be doing some underbody measurements to make sure this whole area is okay and I don't have to do any frame pulling. If it is out of alignment, I'll do that. And I'll weld the new frame rail section on, and basically all the hard work is over. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next episode.